Hello everybody, we are Mistakes Were Made. This is a channel that I created to document my family's progress with debt reduction and eventual elimination. Today we are doing our recap for the first pay period of April, so the 1st through the 15th. We did a budget with me, and now we can see how close we were with our estimates and how well we stuck to the budget. We will go ahead and zoom in on this because I do think this is a little too far away with this particular view. And you can see I did get some goobery stuff there, but we're just gonna ignore that. All right, so let's zoom on in. First section we're gonna check on is the income. And for the most part, most of this stuff did stay the same, but there are, just enough slight differences, that we want to document it to be accurate, and B, it's important to show what we have actually worked with versus what we thought we would. Okay. And 73.84, and then 241. Okay, so as you can see, we didn't have like huge changes like I mentioned. The biggest one is the Etsy income, which happily we had $73.84 for this first couple of weeks of April. So let's add all that together and see where we land for our total. 73.84 and 241. Okay, so we actually are working with $3,815.30. Now, the reason there are discrepancies is more often than not, when we're doing the budget with me, we have not closed out the previous pay period. So there's opportunities for things to shift, or like, for example, with this particular bill and a couple of other bills, for some reason or another, there'll be like a penny difference. It's really kind of annoying, actually. But I want to make sure that we are showing things appropriately. So same thing for the insurance, both mine and his. For some reason it's supposed to be 114.34, but it's 114.33. The 121 that we are allocating here during the budget with me portion, that is an amount that we derived from, I don't know, a few months ago, and what we determined was the halvesies point for one of our water bills, and so we just stuck with 121. That's the amount that we pay during the off month, so that when the month it actually comes around, which is an even month, so in April, it's going to presumably be a little bit less, but hopefully no more than also $121 to do the halvesies. Luckily, for whatever reason, our water bill has been a little bit lower than the month that we use to create our halvesy point. So that is why we're seeing this particular discrepancy. Okay, and then 58. And of course, these are not covered because these are second half of the month bills. So let's see what we ended up with. 874.99 plus 15.49, 11.99, 114.33. 109.20 and 204.58 puts us at $1,330.58, or we're going to subtract that from the total income. Leaves us with $2,484.72. Okay, emergency fund is a no-go. For this one, we already know what the job loss savings is, and what the end buffer amount is going to be, but we're going to keep it in suspense and do the process and see where everything lands, because at this point it is the 16th today, so we have closed out this pay period. Any leftover, excuse me, any leftover money that would go to savings or to debt has already been distributed. So this is more of just the documentation piece of things. So we're ignoring that section. We're just going to put 200 here for now. So 200 again. So then we'll add 200 to this, giving us 2284.72. And then we didn't really have any major deviations from the cash envelopes, which is good, but we did have a slight one. So we're just going to go through here and copy the same info over until we get to that one, which is over here. And we ended up having on one of the weeks, I don't think it was last week, I think it was the first week, instead of doing just $100 for that week, it was $103.06 for our groceries. So that is what it is. We try really, really hard to stay on budget or below, and in previous months we have done a very, very good job of that. But with random different things coming up and other stuff like that, we have had a little bit of overage come into play. Hopefully we can get back on track going forward though. Okay, so let's add all of this up. I suppose we could just go and see what the total is down at the bottom. And now I just got myself all cattywampus because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So let's see. And just add the $3.06 to it. 25, 10, and 20. Oh, good. We did stay on track. So $710.06. And we are going to subtract that from our leftover here, which was $22.84.72, leaving us with a total of $1,574.56. Oh my goodness, that's not a 5, that's a 6. Luckily, you can sort of change it to make it look right. Okay, so let's see, do we have anything different here? I don't believe so. This was 400. This was 175. Oh goodness, I really made that look ugly. I think that's supposed to be 588 for the previous. So we're going to leave that blank for right now. The total is 575. So let's take that from what our total income leftover is. We're at 99966. I did not go over my budgeted allowance this pay period. Did I math that right? I'm gonna do a quick redo. So 15666 minus 400 minus 175. Okay. All right. It is correct. So we're gonna subtract the $30. Puts us at $969.66, and then the $100 here, no changes with that, which means we actually ended up at 969.66. Oops. No, 869. Goodness, I am not doing great at noting this stuff properly. So we ended up with a little bit more in our leftover after all of the budgeting got done. So let's see what that means for changes to our savings and our debt allocation. So debt, savings, and this one, if you are not familiar with the processes we're doing, 75% of anything left over goes towards debt, and 25 goes towards the job loss savings bucket that we've got. So let's get this scooched down here. 869.66, we're going to subtract 75%. That means we are putting $217 into savings. We don't do the pennies. And then we're going to take that original amount and subtract the 217, which means we have $652 to go to debt. Now, it also means we are going to add 66 cents to our rollover, our $200 rollover. So let's fill that piece in right now. So before we were thinking we would have 196, and we actually are ending up with $217. And we thought it would be at $200.53, but it's going to be $200.66 for the rollover. And then up here, we can put that the total is $652 instead of the $588. So we're not done, as you know, because we can see what we did over here. We are now going to divvy this out between the City card and the Discover card. So the upside, of course, is we have more money, which means there's more going to our main debt that we're trying to focus on right now. The somewhat downside is the leftover that we have to go over to Discover is much lower than it would have been if we had the 588. In the long run, I don't know that it makes much difference. Obviously, the sooner we are able to bring the Citibank card down, the sooner we can go on to the next card and then eventually get to Discover. But yeah, so we're going to go up here, and instead of 575, we are doing 650. And instead of $13, we're doing $2. Okay, so pretty quick and easy to look through and see how everything compared to our expectations. Pretty self-explanatory. Always love being able to do this section. Once the job is gone, depending on what the situation is with A, how long it takes me to get a new job, and B, what the unemployment situation looks like as far as money coming in, we may or may not be able to do something along these same lines. I don't anticipate if we have leftover income to allocate, I don't anticipate we're going to continually bolster the savings. At that point, once the job is gone and we're pulling money from the savings, it doesn't necessarily make sense to me to then just take the money we've taken out and put it back in. So there's that. All right, next we're going to take a really quick look at our calendar of money moves. So this is April, and we can see this is what our checking account looks like. Basically, this is the money that's come in, money that's gone out, the effects that it's had on the credit cards. This pay period ended on a Monday, so we don't have an update for this third line, but I am excited because the list has become much smaller than it used to be. If we go back to, the beginning, we had far more items in here and different items. So that is nice to see. I did keep the Bank of America on there. One, because it was paid off at the end of March, just at the 31st. So it was practically in this first pay period, mostly because when the payment went through, because of Easter Monday, I think there was a delay or something like that. Also because I like seeing this $0. It's always a little mini celebration when I see Bank of America and $0. So for the month of April, we'll be keeping the Bank of America on there. And then when we get into May, it will only show Citi, Discover, and Reflect, because those are going to be the only credit cards or debt, consumer debt besides the house mortgage that we are actively pursuing to clear up. So on that note, give this a quick little close, and we will fold this guy up, and let's take a look at the credit cards. Now, if you've been following along, you probably know that we did a 6-month debt confession update. So some of this information is going to be similar, but not exactly the same necessarily. The debt confession used data as of the 4th of April. And of course, this is the closeout for the first pay period of April. So that's going from the 1st to the 15th. We are going to go ahead and take a little look-see here first. So Bank of America, zeros, taking all the opportunities, all the opportunities to be able to see and say that. But for the ones that we do still have debt on, Citi at the beginning of this month was at $71.25, so $7,125. Discover was at $9,963.45, and the Reflect card was at $13,120 for a total of $30,208.45 in credit card debt. As of the end of this pay period, and this does include any of the leftover money at the end of the month that was then put towards Citi and Discover, so that $2 and oh my gosh, almost $650 has been applied, excuse me, to get to these numbers. We are at $5,575 for the Citi card, $9,942.43 for Discover, and $12,945 for a total debt of $28,462.43. And that is a difference at this point of $1,550 reduced, $21.02 reduced, and it's only this amount because the payment for Discover is not until the second pay period of April. So we will see additional reduction, but also we will see it bounce back up again, because this, again, if you've been following along, is our only credit card that still has interest on it. Citi and Reflect are both on a 0% promo, and these are both have over a year for the promos. So we have time to leverage the fact that we are not being charged interest. And an effort to get these balances down as quickly and as effectively, as efficiently as possible. The reflect was a reduction of $175, which is the standard monthly payment that we're making. So for the pay period of April, we have reduced our debt at this time by $1,746.02. So not too bad. And honestly, this progress is, I think, attributable to a few things. One, we 100% stopped using the credit cards. We no longer were fighting and working against ourselves by making payments toward the debt and then essentially sabotaging it by adding more debt. Number two, moving to 0% promos. Now, I very much think it's really, really important before you decide to attempt doing this that you are really honest with yourself. One, have you stopped using the credit cards? Two, are you not going to, if you're moving it from one credit card to another, are you not only stop using the credit card you're moving the balance from, but you're also not going to use a credit card that has the promo? Three, is there going to be enough time on that promo for you to bring that balance down with the resources that you have to pay towards the bill or towards that debt? I think it's really important to keep that in mind. Some people will advocate, just moving from one promo to another promo to another promo as you're able. I don't have any specific opinions about that. If that works for you and you are able to do that, that's your choice. I think it's important to keep in mind the costs because each balance transfer will have a fee. And I think it makes sense to ensure that going that route means you're not creating more debt by doing that to outweigh the benefits of the 0%. That is something that we thought about very, very carefully when we did our balance transfers. Is the debt fee going to make it worth it for us to do this, or are we just going to essentially have a wash? And for us, it was absolutely a no-brainer. We wanted to do the balance transfers because the interest rates were killing us. And then, of course, number three were frankly the taxes. Our tax refund had a huge, huge, huge impact. If you want to talk snowball, the snowball started with us not using the credit cards. I suppose we could put also here spending money wisely. Those two things together meant we had more income available and not, scattered out into the economy and stuff like that. Then it picked up even more because we eliminated a good chunk of the costs of having credit, so that our payments became more effective. That really pushed the snowball down the hill much more quickly. And then, of course, having a small windfall, I don't even know if I should say small. It's relative to everybody. Being able to put $6,000 onto debt is not insignificant. And so you're taking a huge chunk of debt away all at once. And thus, as you're making your payments, you're seeing your progress go just that much faster. So these three things I think are pretty key to us being where we are at. And I do not regret making the decision. And when I say it's mostly because this is my channel. All of the decisions that we're making financially are being made by me and my partner together. So just in case you're wondering, does my partner have any say in any of this? Yes, he does. It's half his money, half my money, so absolutely. But we are very happy with the decision making that we have made so far. It took us a little bit of time to kind of get our feet under us and to know what to go and do. And I talk about that a little bit in the debt confession update, so be sure to check that out. But we are not unhappy about where we are currently. And really, if my job continues to plod along for another couple of months, few months, it's kind of almost all the better, because we'll continue to see this debt reduce and hopefully have those opportunities to have leftover money to be able to go beyond just the snowball budgeted amount of money that we have dedicated towards debt, and have like these big chunks each pay period. So yeah. I think I kind of got a little bit off topic because this is supposed to be a budget recap. I don't know if that counts as recapping. But anyway, I hope that the progress that we're making is encouraging to others. Obviously, everybody has a vastly different situation. You're dealing with different numbers, you're dealing with different scenarios in your life, different motivators, things that you need to focus on, or responsibilities that you need to cover. But I do think seeing people make progress is helpful, because it shows that it can be done. And I firmly believe that everybody can meet their goals. It's just gonna be on your own timeline. So don't compare yourself to other people. Only compare yourself to what you're wanting to accomplish, and how you're getting down the road. If you hit some pitfalls, dust yourself off and keep going. It's gonna happen. Life will humble us, that is for sure. So on that note, I hope this was enjoyable. I hope it was informative. As always, if you have suggestions, ideas, just want to say hi, drop them down there in the comments. And if you would like to follow us along so you can see how we are doing going forward, please consider subscribing. So thank you as always, and we'll see you in the next one.